Hi, I'm Joe Rotella, and it's my pleasure today to talk with Jean Kutner, past president of the Academy. Hi, Jean.
Hi, Joe. It's great to be here with you.
Oh, this is really one of the funnest things that I ever get to do. So tell us what year you were president and what you think some of the big issues were at that time.
So I was president the 2014 to 2015 year. And I guess it sort of felt like it was a kind of launching presidency year. It feels like we launched a lot of things that we're now seeing come to fruition for the Academy.
Now just a couple years later.
Yeah, only a couple years later. Feels like a long time ago. And then the timing of my presidency, I think, was also kind of personally interesting in that it was, my mom died of Parkinson's in 2014, I think literally right after I assumed the presidency. So really having just lived the last few years of her life with a progressive illness and then being in that role, I think it made it even more of a passionate year.
Sure. So what were you able to focus on during that time?
I would say there's a number of exciting things that happened during that year. Like I said, it felt like a launching year. And remember, that was also the year that the Institute of Medicine Dying in America report was released. So there was, I think, a lot of also energy both within our field and then in the broader public and press about the things that we're passionate about. I think it gave us a nice platform to be able to kind of riff off of that report in terms of a number of things that were important to us, and also to have a voice at that table, since a number of us that are very involved with the Academy were on the committee as well. So it sort of brought all those together. I think in terms of some exciting things that launched during that year, the Measuring What Matters, that whole initiative was something that we as the board invested in that year, and we've now seen that have great sort of ripple effects from there. The Diversity and Inclusion Initiative was launched during that year, and we've also seen some sort of terrific ongoing effects from that. We worked that year around for the folks that have primary certification through the ABIM to be able to continue their hospice and palliative medicine board certification without having to maintain their baseline boards. And actually, just as somebody who recently recertified in internal medicine and have my hospice and palliative medicine boards coming up next year, actually I'm reflecting a lot on that and what that means for me personally.
It's interesting to think about where we are now a few years later, where these things are picking up steam, but it almost feels like the challenges are mounting at the same time. I wonder what you think about that.
I think our challenges now are the challenges of growth and of increased awareness. I mean, everybody that I talk to at home, and even having been here at the meeting just for half a day so far, it's all challenges related to people want what we have.
Yes.
And so it's a different set of challenges, but I think it's challenges that are fun to embrace and to take on.
It's as though more people recognize that we're actually part of the solution to some of these problems that the healthcare system has. And so now we're sitting at the big table instead of the little kids table, and that brings with it new challenges too, but they're good.
It does, and I think though we as individuals and as the field have to recognize that we are at the right tables, we are at the big people's tables, and to just go forward with that and get rid of the sort of second-class citizen sort of sense that I think many of us sort of grew up with professionally, that nope, we're sitting at the right tables and people want us there. They want to hear what we have to say. We are experts. We have solutions to bring to bear, and it takes a little bit different approach and different language, but people need us.
So when you reflect back, what do you think are the traits that really best helped you as a president to move forward on so many things? Or what advice would you have to leaders of today?
I think it's a combination. It's being knowledgeable about the field, being knowledgeable about the needs of the members. I think that was another thing that I think we focused on a lot that year, as well as I've seen the Academy evolve over time, is to, as a professional society, to be really in tune with what are the needs of the members and balancing and bringing together those multiple stakeholders, the members and what their needs are, what their day-to-day needs, at the same time while you're sort of surveying the landscape and being forward-thinking about what do we need to be doing to prepare for the future. So balancing those, I would say, for future leaders of this professional society is absolutely work closely with the staff. Mm-hmm. We've got amazing staff in AAHPM, and they are so knowledgeable and so organized, and they make us look good as sort of part-time transitory leaders.
So I sure agree with you on that. And as I was hearing you talking about our members, really I've grown in an appreciation of how broad our membership is. When you look back at your career, how do we looking back 10 years or 15, how do you see how we've changed?
I mean, to me, I feel like this field and organization has sort of grown up professionally at the same time that I have. I mean, but I think, as a professional organization, I think clearly our membership has grown tremendously. I think we've become much more sophisticated in a good way in terms of how we approach the broad spectrum of issues, and I think we've evolved a governance structure that I think it was Russ Portnoy's presidency where the new governance structure went into place, and I think that has evolved over time to meet the evolving needs of a growing organization and a growing field. I think one of the things I really like about this professional organization is its sort of constant sensing function to see what's going on with its members, what's going on in the field, and are we meeting those through our current structures and processes, and that real willingness to evolve over time. I think as a profession, boy, having gone from nobody had ever even heard of palliative care, and hospice was a pretty small industry, to where we are now in terms of numbers of hospices, numbers of palliative care programs. It's part of people's day-to-day vernacular. Anything else you want to share about your experience? Oh, it was terrific. I actually have hanging in my office the plaque from the signed photos from the president year, and it always warms my heart to look up and see people's signatures. Well, you can be sure you made a difference, and you still are making a difference. And thanks for sharing your thoughts with us.